Hi guys, so today I'm going to talk about Looking for Alaska by John Green. John Green has become a pretty popular name in the past 10 years or so. He wrote Looking for Alaska in 2005, and since then he has wrote 5 other books, 2 of which have been turned into movies. The Fault in Our Stars came out as a movie in 2014, and then in July of this year, Paper Towns was also made into a movie. For only having 6 books, John Green has become very popular. Looking for Alaska won the Prince Award in 2006, which is what this little gold medal is for. They also have an honor book every year. The Prince Award is basically the best book of young adult literature according to the committee that chooses. So that's a pretty big honor. John Green actually made a video at the 5-year anniversary about winning this award and how excited he was about it, but about how it took a lot of people to make the book the way it was, and he just wanted to thank them all, which I'll link here. I think a really interesting thing about the book is the way that the chapters are split up. It starts off with a before page, and then about 2/3 of the way through, there is an after page. So it's kind of interesting, and then throughout it, it's not really split up into chapters exactly. Each little chunk or chapter starts off with an amount of days before, so 127 days before, so on and so forth. And then on the last little chunk of the before section, it's the last day. So obviously, once the after portion starts, the first one is the day after, and so on and so forth. So the way that you split it up really makes your anticipation build as you're getting closer and closer to the day of, trying to figure out what event is it that this book is just centering around. So personally, I really liked that. I thought that was pretty exciting. All in all, I think Looking for Alaska is a really great book. I read the before chunk a lot quicker than I read the after chunk, but it still only took me about 2 days when I actually sat down and read it. Looking for Alaska is a boy named Miles Halter who goes to a boarding school named Culver Creek. Once he's there, they call him Pudge, to be ironic because he's actually a really skinny guy, and he makes friends with Chip Martin, who they call the Colonel, and Alaska Young. Pudge goes to boarding school looking for his great perhaps. He's not kicked out of public school, and he's not a bad kid or anything like that. He doesn't really have any friends at his regular high school, so he's super excited when he gets to boarding school, and right off the bat makes 2 friends. Pudge memorizes famous people's last words, which is kind of an interesting hobby, but it plays into the book pretty well. And the Colonel memorizes capitals of all the countries, and by the end of the book, he knows every capital of every single place in the world, along with population, which is a pretty impressive thing to accomplish, I think. So Pudge, Alaska, and the Colonel take off on all kinds of crazy adventures. There's romance, there's alcohol, there's pranks, and there's lots of cigarettes. I know the whole don't judge a book by its cover, but in this instance, I think the cover is pretty appropriate for the book. In the original, there was actually a candle at the bottom, so it looked like the smoke was coming up from the candle. But I guess John Green didn't like that because the smoke is supposed to be from a cigarette because they smoke a lot of cigarettes. So in the version that I have, the candle's cut out. There's also a new edition where the front page is totally redesigned. There's no candle, but the smoke is just a little different and it's set up a little different. There also is about 50 pages of a Q&A with John Green and just some other little extra added things in there. In this video, John Green talks about how much he always wanted one of his books to have the striped binding here, and this new edition of Looking for Alaska has it, and he seems pretty excited. A lot of people think young adult literature isn't very serious, but this is a really good example to prove that it is serious. The reading level of the book isn't very high, but the subject matter is hard, so I wouldn't suggest the book to a younger young adult, but to an older young adult, I think there's a lot that they could connect with throughout. So if you get a minute, check out Looking for Alaska by John Green. Stay tuned for new posts about young adult literature.